Hi, hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Soumya. This video is on photosynthesis. Let's begin with the mechanism of light phase. Process of photosynthesis, it includes the two reaction, that is light dependent reaction or light phase or light reaction. And second one is dark reaction or or light independent reaction. Light phase and dark phase actually makes the photosynthesis process. Okay. Now we will first begin with the light phase and later we will move on to the dark phase, because light phase itself has so many steps here. You can say around 7 steps are there. I have to explain one by one neatly. Okay, first we will start with the first one. It is a what is this light phase? It is a photochemical process. Okay, photochemical process. Photo means light and it is a chemical process, and it occurs where it is going to occur in a thylakoid membrane. Imagine the diagram here I have displayed over here. So the light phase is going to occur on thylakoid membrane. You have to remember. So this point is important. They will ask where the light phase is going to take place, or where the dark phase is going to take place. So light phase is going to take place on the thylakoid membrane. Now moving on to the what are the steps are included in the light phase. First one, photolysis of water. Photolysis of water, first one. Second one, Emerson enhancement effect. Third one, molecular configuration and orientation of supramolecular complexes, or you can say domains or assemblies. And fourth one, mechanism of NET, non-cyclic electron transport. This mechanism of non-cyclic electron transport, it includes another three steps, that is photolysis of water and release of O2 oxygen, transfer of electrons from water to NADP plus from NADPH, and then third one, ATP synthesis, that is energy molecule is synthesized, that is called as photophosphorylation. Okay, these are all the steps are included in the non-cyclic electron transport. And moving on to the fifth one, that is mechanism of cyclic electron transport, where NADPH dehydrogenase enzyme dependent cyclic electron transport, that this one we are going to study. This mechanism we are going to study in mechanism of cyclic electron transport. And the next one, NADH independent CET, okay, where there is a synthesis of ATP in this process. And the next one, reduction of potential values. And the seventh one, inhibition of light phase, how the light phase is going to inhibit it, what are the factors that inhibits the light phase. Okay, so we are going to study all these in detail and digging deeper into the content here. Okay, before we just studied about the definition and some factors and all like that, but we are now studying the actual process of the photosynthesis. Okay, now let's begin with the first one, that is photolysis of water. It is very easy here. You can look at here, photolysis of water. We already know this. Lysis means breakdown, right? And photo means light. So here what happens in this photolysis of water, this light energy is going to break down the water molecule. How it is going to break down, that's what we are going to study now. Okay, that's why that is called as photolysis of water. And there is a scientist named called as Van Niel, was the first to propose water as the source of oxygen released in the photosynthesis. When photosynthesis is going to occur, so that time the water releases the oxygen, and by photosynthesis we know that for photosynthesis, where it is going to absorb carbon dioxide, water and sunlight and releases the oxygen. Okay, that releases the oxygen we are going to respire, we are going to intake the oxygen and we are going to remove out the carbon dioxide. So this scientist, that is Van Niel, is the one who proposed that water as the source of oxygen release in photosynthesis. So we know that we got to know that by photosynthesis process we are going to get the oxygen. So now the question is, how oxygen is released by photosynthesis process. So the how photosynthesis is going to occur by water, carbon dioxide and sunlight, right? So here he said that this water is the reason water is the source for the release of oxygen. Who said this? That is Van Niel. And there is another scientist named called as Rofin Hill, was the first to experimentally prove water has the source of O2. He proposed it, but experimentally proved by a Rofin Hill. Okay, so water is the source of O2. And how water is going to release by photosynthesis. So we will learn the mechanism in short now. That is isolated chloroplast, means which absorbs the sunlight along with the water and radiant energy, and hydrogen acceptor. So hydrogen acceptor means the hydrogen is accepted by the acceptor. Okay, so then there is a release of water, that is oxygen, then there is a release of oxygen. Now the question is that here, so when this O2 has to separate, it has to divide
hydrogen and oxygen.
Then this hydrogen should be accepted by the hydrogen acceptor. Then what are those hydrogen acceptors which are present in this process? Those are those are actually called as hydrogen acceptors or Hill oxidants. Okay, those are quinones, potassium ferric cyanide, third one potassium oxalate. These three are the hydrogen acceptor. So when these absorb the hydrogen or accept the hydrogen from the water, then that will lead to a release of oxygen. Now moving on to the next point. Here how the photolysis is going to happen actually, that one only I am going to explain now. Here water H2O splits in the presence of sunlight into electrons, protons and oxygen. So water in ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ when there is a presence of sunlight, this water is going to split into electrons, then protons and oxygen. Okay, and this phenomenon is called as photolysis of water or Hill reaction. So this is important. What is Hill reaction or photolysis of water? Very easy one. So water is going to split into electron, proton and oxygen in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so you can look at here, I have explained that with the equation here. Water, okay, so it is splits into a electron, proton and oxygen. Okay, and these two molecules of electron and two molecules of proton forms the hydrogen, right? That's what I am explaining here. And after this release of this hydrogen, these two molecules of electron and two molecules of proton releases a hydrogen, right? This hydrogen is accepted by A, means acceptor. Okay, the acceptor just now I have mentioned, it may be a quinone or potassium ferric cyanide or potassium oxalate. So any acceptor is going to accept this hydrogen, forms this molecule. Okay, that's about the Hill's reaction. Now moving on to the next point. The native hydrogen acceptor in plants is NADP plus. This you have to remember here. This point is important here. Who is that hydrogen acceptor here? The hydrogen acceptor in plants is NADP plus. Okay, and water molecules undergoes photolysis in the purpose of donating electrons, the electrons to NADP plus by electron transport. This is important. You have to remember this point. So why water is going a photolysis? Because of the purpose to donate the electrons to the NADP plus by electron transport. Okay, so you can see in the diagram here I explained, in the light phase there is a electron carriers. Okay, electrons are carried and it is given to the NADP plus. I guess you are observing in the diagram, right? So that is called as electron transport system. So electron has to transport. Then where is the electrons to transport? Someone has to give the electrons, then only the electron carriers are going to carry the electron and give it to the NADP plus, right? So electrons, where we are getting those electrons? That is by water. Water is going to split into electrons, protons and oxygens in the presence of sunlight. Those electrons are again carried by the electron carriers to the NADP plus. Okay, and this process actually releases the oxygen. Okay, so this was given, this equation was given by scientists named called as Rubin, Kamen and Randall. So carbon dioxide plus water gives rise to carbohydrates and there is a release of oxygen. Okay, that's about the photolysis of water. In the next video we are going to study about all these things in detail, and these are all very important. Okay, so in the next video possibly we will cover these two, second one and third one, and I'm hoping this video is helpful. I am very much glad to share my knowledge with you all. Please do share and subscribe. Thank you everyone.